In today's video, I'm reviewing a 2016 Nissan NV200 Cargo van. These have been produced by Nissan since 2010, with sales in the United States beginning in 2013. Now, these are obviously a really popular choice among delivery drivers, plumbers, electricians, other contractors that are looking for a small, easy to drive, and inexpensive cargo van. But they've also gained a lot of popularity within the small camper van conversion community, with a lot of different companies converting the NV200 into a camper van, as well as a lot of do-it-yourselfers making modifications to turn these into camper vans. It makes for a very easy to drive and inexpensive alternative to the very large and popular Sprinter vans, which have become very popular in today's market. On the styling front, the NV200 is fairly simple. Of course, within the cargo van segment, style is not necessarily a huge component, but there are definitely companies out there that want their vans or vehicles to kind of stand out a little bit, as they often will end up with a lot of logo signage on the side, and having a stylish vehicle can be somewhat important. Of course, the practicality always comes in as a higher priority. It's got a pretty nice clean front grille design and headlight design. Again, within the cargo van segment, it's fairly stylish in comparison with a lot of the other offerings out there. And of course, the vehicle has a very sloping front nose. Helps with those style points a little bit, and of course with aerodynamics. And efficiency is always key on a vehicle like this, where the bottom line is key, and it's going to travel a lot of miles over the course of its life, and so fuel efficiency is pretty important. Now, along those same lines of practicality, as a delivery or contractor's vehicle, access points are always very important, because you want to be able to get into the vehicle and get access to various items without too much trouble. And so for that reason, you've got this sliding door on the driver's side, we've got another sliding door on the passenger side, and then these rear swinging doors in the back. So it's very easy to get into the van and access items from all sides. Now, one cool feature with these rear swinging doors is that you'll notice the driver's side door is a little bit smaller than the passenger side door. The reason for that is because they don't want the driver's side door to swing out quite as far into traffic when it's fully opened. And along the same lines, it's got a pretty cool mechanism here where these swing out to this point, so they don't swing out all the way unless you pull on this again and then swing it out. And so it's kind of nice that it locks into place at that first position, since you don't always want it to swing all the way out, and you want to avoid hitting things, but then it does have that ability to swing out the full 180 degrees. And you can see that 40-60 split there again, 40 on the driver's side and 60 on the passenger side. And then of course we've got another sliding door on the passenger side of the vehicle. The NV200 offers a pretty nice size within the cargo van segment. It's very easily drivable, and despite the fact that it's got a lot of cargo capacity, still gets really great gas mileage, and it's super easy to drive because it's so small. Great for in the city where you might need to maneuver through tight spaces and parking spots and pull off on the side of the road. You're not taking up a whole lot of space. So that's all great. And we'll jump inside, take a look. Again, since these vehicles are designed for utility and functionality, not a whole lot to the design in here. Fairly simple overall. Decently comfortable seats. Nothing too fancy about them. It's got a hard plastic floor that makes it easy to clean out the vehicle. Got some cup holders. Got a plastic floor again over on that side. It does have power windows and door locks, automatic windows, power mirrors, which is a great feature. AM/FM radio, CD player, input for an MP3 or phone. One thing that I think is definitely a downside is that they didn't include a backup camera. So obviously there's no rear view mirror, since there's no windows in the back. That is an option on the NV200, so you can get those 2 rear doors with windows, although I don't believe the side windows can be had in glass on the cargo van. But yeah, it'd be great if it had a screen here with a backup camera. And then it does have climate control with AC and heat, and then heated mirrors. So kind of a nice feature. Automatic transmission. Again, fairly simple inside, but for a utility vehicle, it's not bad. And jumping to the back, obviously not a whole lot to see in this rear area. It's very simple. A lot of latch points for modifying the vehicle to your needs. So you can see that this shelf has been added aftermarket, but lots of connection points where you could attach other items as needed. And so that's great for delivery companies, for contractors to kind of modify the vehicle to their needs. And then likewise within that small camper van market, a lot of things that you can do to modify the vehicle and make it more practical for your needs. Under the hood, the NV200 has a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with 131 horsepower and 139 pound-feet of torque. That's paired to a CVT transmission and is good for an EPA rating of 24 miles per gallon in the city and 26 miles per gallon on the highway. Payload capacity on the NV200 is 1,500 pounds. If you're curious, the 0 to 60 time on the NV200 when unloaded is 10 seconds. Original starting pricing on the NV200 was about $21,000 for this model year. I mentioned earlier that the Nissan NV200 has become a pretty popular choice for camper van conversions, and I wanted to throw up a few photos real quick, giving you a little bit of a taste of what that could look like on this vehicle. This is just one of the few vendors out there that does conversions on the NV200, and you can see that it makes for a really cool little camper van. It's very small, easy to drive, and yet it's very functional, very stylish, and a much less expensive alternative to the larger and more expensive Sprinter van. As far as driving the NV200, there's not a whole lot to say about it. It basically drives and feels like you would expect a small cargo van to do. You get quite a bit of noise coming from the back, a lot of rattles, and then of course all of the sound from outside of the vehicle can transfer in pretty easy because you don't get all the insulation and padding and everything that you would get in a normal vehicle. But that's a given for cargo vans in general. As far as the powertrain on the NV200, it's adequate. I mean, I mentioned earlier that 0 to 60 time is 10 seconds, so it's not quick by any means, but it doesn't feel underpowered either. It provides a fair amount of oomph, and then with that CVT, it also accelerates very smoothly because you don't feel any of those engine shifts, and so it's definitely performs well in that capacity. Steering feel likewise is decent. You know, you don't expect a real dynamic driving experience in a cargo van, but despite that, it doesn't feel that sloppy or choppy or anything either. I mean, it offers a pretty good overall drive. Pretty car-like. As I mentioned earlier, visibility is definitely an issue with the NV200. In any cargo van, you're not going to get great visibility on the sides or in the back because windows are not that common. But again, as I mentioned, the backup camera would be a really nice offering. And then I also think it'd be a really cool feature for cargo vans to start including some of the 360 camera views that you get on a lot of premium vehicles, you know, that are for off-roading or for seeing blind spots. It'd be pretty cool if they started to offer that within this segment. Fortunately, the mirrors do have a little inset in them, so you get pretty decently sized mirror to begin with, and then with that inset, it gives you another angle, and visibility is okay on the sides. You know, for what it is. So that's a review of the Nissan NV200 Cargo Van. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the section below. For more car reviews, subscribe to my channel. In the meantime, thanks for watching.